Alright guys, in this video we're going to do a load board search out of Reno. So I grabbed this load out of Reno a couple days ago on our way to Missouri, so I thought I'd do a load board search out of Reno. Going from today and lasting about a week. See what kind of loads are available throughout the week. Most of the loads pop in the morning, so by showing you an entire week, it'll give us a better idea of what you might find in the morning. We're going to go anywhere, 50-mile radius. Pretty much Reno is the only decent market in that area. There's a lot of companies moving from California to Reno, so Reno is pretty decent nowadays. Definitely punching above its weight, so we're going to go ahead and do this load board search right now. All right, so longest trip, cycle by longest trip. Look at the first one to Florida. So Florida, the 15-day market average pays about $4,800. This one's at $5,000. I'm guessing there's some sort of catch with it, that the fact that it's already that high kind of raises some red flags, but you can go to Florida. I mean, it's a super long load, so you have to deadhead to Atlanta. I don't think I'd take it, but I mean, you might be interested. I'd probably be pass though on Florida, to be honest, especially for that rate. So that one. There's a Virginia load. Virginia paying about the same as Florida, but Virginia is a much better market. I would definitely take this over the Florida load, no doubt. In fact, I might take that period. That's pretty decent. About $1.80 per mile for a 2,700-mile load. Yeah, that's not bad. I might take that. One thing I'll mention is I don't have access to most of these brokers. And if you got a brand new MC, you're not going to have access to these brokers either. Global Trans, I think it's 6 months active MC you need for that one. I don't know about Stone or Lading or any of those, but I know most of these guys I don't have access to. So just be aware of that. So if you're coming in and you're thinking you'll have access to all these right away, you are dead wrong. So just be aware of that. But let's check out this New York one. So again, pays about $5,000. $1.85 per mile. It's okay. New York isn't the best market right now, though. So you're not going to get out of there for all that great of a rate. So just be aware of that. New Jersey, pretty much the same area. Here's the Pennsylvania one. Now, TQL is one broker who works with new carriers. I work with them a lot, and I still currently do. My MC is about 5 months old, so I'm still working with them a lot. Nothing wrong with them. So yeah, this is a load that pretty much anybody can take with the new MC. Pays about $1.80 per mile to the Allentown market. So there's that. But Pennsylvania, New York, not the best markets right now. So just beware. There's a Georgia run. Danville, Georgia. Pretty close to Atlanta. And you notice this one pays a little bit less than some of the other ones, $1.68 per mile. And that's because Atlanta is a pretty decent market. It's quite good, actually. So yeah, there's that one. I might take that. Not too bad. North Carolina, look at that one. Similar. North Carolina is a decent market right now. Not quite as good as Atlanta, but not as bad as Pennsylvania. So $1.70 per mile. I might do it. Here's a Michigan one. Midwest. I don't know. The Midwest has not been doing very well. I mean, every time I'm there, I'm having a hard time getting out of there for a decent rate. So I don't know what's going on. $1.70 per mile is still not bad. Maybe it's getting better, but I don't know. I've been there a couple of times and I've had a hard time getting out of there. So there's that one. I might take it, but I don't know. I'm hesitant nowadays. Ohio, similar story. Wisconsin, we'll check that one out. Yeah, it pays a similar rate. Pretty close to Chicago. So yeah, there's that one. I might take it, but I don't know. I've just been having a hard time in the Midwest lately. So there's that. Laredo. So Laredo, Texas is a very hot market. It's right on the border of Mexico. There's a ton of freight coming from Mexico. So you go in there for not a great rate, but you can generally come out for a pretty decent rate. So you might take that. I'd probably avoid it. I'm not too interested in going down there. So that's just me, though. But there's Laredo. Gregory, what's this one? Houston. Houston, Texas. Pays decently well. according to this, $1.80 per mile. I mean, Houston is a fantastic market, so I'm a little surprised that it's saying it pays that well. I would definitely be interested in this one because I feel I can get it out of Houston for a good rate. So, yeah, there's that one. I might definitely take that. Rockton, Illinois. Check out Oklahoma. A little Tulsa run. $1.76 per mile. Tulsa is an okay market. I would definitely take the Houston one over this, though, for sure. Landstar, by the way, requires 1 year active authority to work with them, so I can't haul this. Just showing you it, but I cannot haul that one. RXO is 3 months, so I can haul with them, and I have taken a load for them. Try to find something other than Texas, though. All right, South Dakota. This one pays $1.85 per mile, so kind of by, I don't know, kind of middle of nowhere. Somewhat close to Minneapolis, somewhat close to Omaha. I don't think I'd be too interested in that one. Kind of in the middle of nowhere. But Colorado, we can check out this one. This one is Colorado Springs, which is Denver. So you notice it pays really well, $2.56 per mile, but that's because you're going to have to deadhead out. There's basically nothing coming out of Denver. It's one of those areas that consumes a lot, but nothing goes out. You'll probably end up deadheading all the way to Dallas, frankly. Yeah, if I were to in this one, I would just take it, drop it, and then I just immediately start deadheading all the way to Dallas, which is like 600 miles, which sounds insane, but that's why it pays $2.56 per mile, because you're going to have to deadhead out. But there's that one. New Mexico, another dead area. Yep, pays really $1.83. Huh. That's actually not too bad. I wouldn't take that. I mean, it's like El Paso is what it is, but still, I probably would not take that one. I don't know if you're going to get out of El Paso for a decent rate, but let's check out this Montana one. So Sparks to Montana. So this is an interesting dynamic on the West Coast that I've kind of talked about before, how you can take a load from a good area, such as Reno or Las Vegas or Phoenix or Los Angeles, and then you can go up to absolutely middle of nowhere Montana, and then it is not a mistake to just simply deadhead all the way back to Reno, because it pays $3 per mile, and yeah, okay, if you divide that by 2, because you deadhead all the way back, it goes to $1.50 per mile. However, half of it is completely empty, so you're getting great fuel mileage. So I look at these. I have done this, and in fact, I just did it. I took a load from Reno to Eugene when I was trying to go visit some family in the Pacific Northwest. And then after I dropped it in Eugene, visited family, I got back in the truck and I just deadheaded straight back to Reno. And the initial load paid so well that I could do this. So you can, in fact, just take loads from Reno or Vegas or Los Angeles, drop them in Billings or Salt Lake or Boise or Spokane, and then deadhead all the way back, and it's actually totally fine. So you can get away with that on the West Coast, but that's about it. Let's look at some of these other ones. Reno to Tolson, which is Phoenix. Phoenix, good market, decent market, so it's not going to pay all that good. So you pretty much would run from Reno to Phoenix for about $1.70, and you'd run Phoenix to Reno for $1.70. So it's about equilibrium there. But never a mistake to take that. All right, let's check out this Washington. So Seattle, similar story. Let's see here. Yeah, so Seattle, very similar, right? $3.11 per mile. That's because you're deadheading all the way back to Reno. That's what you're going to end up doing. So there's that one. Sumner, Pasco, very similar. Yeah, $3.48 per mile because you're deadheading all the way back. Yep, that's just the dynamics there. So this one's going to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City pays a little less, $2.87, not quite a load you'd want to deadhead all the way back on for $2.87. I mean, $3 would be the absolute minimum, I would think, to make it worthwhile, because half of it's empty, so you get good gas mileage. $2.87, I don't think so. I'd want at least 3. That's just me though. But there's a Salt Lake run. Cougar, Oregon. We got there's a Portland run. Same story. Yeah, $3.49 per mile. Right. Yep. You grab it, you drop it, and then you deadhead back. That's what you do there. Here, Loma. All right, let's look at some of these California. There's an Ontario one. So On the opposite end of the spectrum from the Pacific Northwest is something like the Los Angeles market. So you run from Reno to Ontario, and it pays $1.28 per mile. That's because the Ontario market, i.e. Los Angeles, is like the best market in the U.S., so it doesn't pay well to go there. But there's that one. Yeah. So you can go there for about $1.28, and then you can get out for, I don't know, $2.50, $3 per mile, $3.50 per mile, depending on where you're going. But there's that one. There's the Los Angeles one. Salem, Idaho. Let's check the Idaho one. Meridian, Idaho. Let me guess, $3.59 per mile because you are deadheading back. There's that. All right, let's check out one more California one. This one's going to San Francisco market. It doesn't show the math because it doesn't show math on short ones. I don't know why, but it's like $3 a mile or something like that. So not too bad. Not too shabby. But okay, yeah, so there's the loads going to various areas out of Reno. Just gonna scroll up for you here. Yeah, Reno, good market on the West Coast. Pretty much one of the few markets on the West Coast. You got 4 main markets on the West Coast: Reno, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Los Angeles. Reno punching well above its weight in terms of population because so many companies are moving there. Tesla Gigafactory, that's the big one. They moved there, and there's a bunch of other ones that have moved there. It's just a huge industrial center out in specifically Sparks, Nevada, which is Reno, that has developed. So there's Reno, Nevada. Grabbed a load outside of Reno, and we're headed to Neosho, which is Joplin, and the next video I do will probably be Joplin. But there's that video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.